I appreciate you listening in, whether you agree or disagree. That's fine. We're supposed to be able to agree and disagree. Shout out to the sister. I can't pronounce your name. I'm so sorry on the panel. Um,
Nepal, Nepal.
Napa. I look forward to this debate. I'm excited about it. Sinetta, thank you as always,
Thank you.
always,
You're welcome.
always. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that mostly everybody that came up here remained. It got a little sticky, but it wasn't that bad. But I appreciate the respect
Mm-mm.
that the gentlemen and sisters had maintained up here. And I look forward to the debate. I really do. I think it's going to be great.
All right.
I think it's
So
gonna be
thank you,
garbage.
sister. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Peace and
peace.
black power to
Good
everybody.
debate.
I want to say we out of here and peace.
Check out. All right, so that was pure insanity. Sister Betty is insane, totally. She starts off by saying that English was the language that her people spoke. First, it was a dialect, and then it became a dialogue. She went from English being a dialect to English being a dialogue, and then she closed out with a map of all the North American languages, all the American languages, and nowhere on the map did it say English. And she starts talking about Algonquin, starts talking about, and then he comes on there and starts talking about Muskogee. I'm a Muskogean. I'm a Muskogean. This shit is insane. Let's see what Garfield talking about. No, not that Garfield. See if Garfield's gonna go in on this. Garfield. All right. No, it's got something else going on. All right. So yeah, that was a bit of an insane, bit of an insane podcast. Well, Sunday we're having a showing of Mountain Lion. It's a seed film by a friend of mine, Brooklyn Demi. Hopefully, can have a little bit of traffic. Some people pull up for it. Peace. That was fun. That was enjoyable. Seeing how much these people really don't know. So Sonetta is setting Sister Bethy up. And they just so happy to be on that platform. They just so happy to be on a platform that they deem has credibility. They don't care how hypocritical they sound. Nothing. I think the Aboriginal movement is losing its steam, but unbeknownst to them, they're so delusional, they think they're gaining steam. And all they're doing is moving into the flat earth. Like, once they go mainstream, they're just more flat earthers. Yeah, they're like, but the thing is, they deal with like denial. They're like in denial of things. So even when you show them that they're wrong, they just spin it into something else. Like definitely no accountability. Definitely no accountability. Um, Definitely no accountability. So let me see who's live. Who else can we laugh at? Because it's almost like sitting up here just correcting them. It's like all the shit they put out, it just gets wronger and wronger. Like they're moving more and more left field. Like I said, they're in the realm of the flat Earth at this point. Claiming your ancestors is one thing, but when you've moved into, oh yeah, okay, when you've moved into a realm of insanity, which is where they firmly are, they have firmly placed their feet in the territory called insanity, and they're getting comfortable. Like this dude, Dallas Cowboy, and he come up here agreeing with these people. What are we talking about? I don't know what's going on. So looks like Top Cat that went live. Now of all the abos, he seems to be the one that has. Well, he's not an abo. Of all these, because like I said, of all these groups, he seems to be the one that has at least a identifiable ancestry that ties him back into a tribe. A lot of this other shit though, peace, bro. A lot of this other shit though is just off the wall, banana boat shit. Like I don't know where any of this shit come from. I don't know where this shit come from. They just making this shit up as they go along. See, the thing is, I'm gonna go to Top Cat in a minute. The thing is, when we was on 125, chopping it up, getting busy, right? And this conversation was first being born, literally on 125th Street. It was a product of the Moors. Moors, you know, making all types of claims about being the owners of the land and we the indigenous people of the land. The Moors are the first ones to claim that outside of the native people who never felt the need to claim it because it's always been known. You know what I'm saying? Only people that felt the need to claim the land were people who started studying history at some point and then started stumbling upon aspects of history, right? Not the people who actually know their connection to the land, right? Name a tribe in North America that doesn't know where its original territory was. Name one. You can't, because every one of these tribes knows exactly where they came from. Okay, the only tribes that don't know and were stripped, and they stripped us of our knowledge, are the Aboriginals, right? Even the nations, the Indians who went to boarding schools, and it wasn't to learn how to be Indian, it was to learn English and to be stripped of their culture. Even they retained their clans, They know what clan they're from, they know their nation, and they know the territory they're from, and they know their language. Whether they speak it or not, they still know these things. So when you ask the Aboriginals about any of their pertinent history, they can't answer you about their history. They can only tell you why they don't know their history. Jace Laurent in the building. It's my dudes. Good bros, man. They definitely at the forefront, man. Holding it down with they peer group. You know what I mean? Doing the real work. Peace to those bros, man. So yeah, these people can't answer questions. What they do is tell you why they can't answer the question, and it usually got to do with some type of conspiracy. Ain't got nothing to do with no facts. It can't tie you into nothing. And let me tell you something else. When you start talking about real history, this shit is so, you know what I mean? There's so much to it that you tend to be called long-winded, right? So when you on a panel, 6, 8, 9 people, and everybody's jumping at the bit to say something, to stand out, to shine, how much real conversation and dialogue you gonna have? You know what I'm saying? Because if you want real answers, yo, shit get long-winded. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no quick answers to none of this shit. Shit is gonna take a minute. So none of these platforms, peace. None of these platforms are designed for real dialogue. And on top of that, you don't have any, like I said, no accountability. When something is proven wrong, they just jump off that platform, and that same person will go to another platform and start pushing the same shit. Like she up there talking about them statues of those Moors, of these Moors, a statue of a Moor from Europe. She's saying that's Chief Palatine. Who the fuck ever said that? The statue don't say it. Somebody took a picture of the statue, put it online, and underneath it said, this is Chief Palatine. And now everybody's running with it like it's the truth. It's not him. What are y'all talking about? Then they keep showing you all these paintings. This is the symbol, this is the emblem of America. Those paintings were done by Europeans who didn't even make it to the, like they never came here. They read the reports that people made, and they made paintings in their mind of what they thought the shit looked like. That's why all these so-called indigenous Americans in these paintings got on Roman Greco style sandals. What tribe wore that shit over here? Some big ass feathers and shit. Like, it's just crazy. And I'm just gonna sit here, and when everybody realizes they fucking dumb, like they fell for this shit, then they gonna come, oh, well, yeah, Turtle, you was the one that turned me on to this shit back in, yup. And as soon as shit got hard, niggas ran up under motherfuckers that made it easy for them. Right? As soon as y'all start digging through them papers and couldn't find what you wanted, and it wasn't easy, y'all had to start changing the criteria. You know what I mean? That's why everybody was so gung-ho over genealogy. Yeah, genealogy. And then when that shit started getting tough, it was like, oh, conspiracy. We stand on conspiracies. That's what they stand on. They don't stand on genealogy. They stand on conspiracy. Now, let me show you the hypocrisy of it, right? They will sit up there and ask you about your genealogy and have you taken your genealogy and what's your genealogy. But the moment a native person asks them what tribe you come from, who your family, they get upset. But guess what? Asking somebody what tribe you're from and who's your family and what your nation is That's the same thing as saying, what's your genealogy? Don't you get that? Your genealogy is the record of your ancestry. When they ask you what's your tribe, what's your family, what nation you come from, they're basically asking you in a tribal way, what's your ancestry, what's your genealogy? You see? They get offended when they ask that, but then they say they stand on genealogy. Am I the only one that sees that shit? Like, am I the only one that sees how insane these people really are? How nothing they do makes any sense? This woman said English is their indigenous language. That's how she started her interview. And then she ended it by showing a linguistic map of all the languages in the Americas. None of them said English, and nobody addressed it. Nobody addressed it. Now, I know Sonetta setting them up. You see what happened to young Pharaoh. Sonetta brought him back, made him feel good, made him feel comfortable, and he brought his man in and crushed him, ran him off the show. Embarrassing. Now Sonetta's setting all them up. Setting all them up. They about to come through, like they be getting their head chopped off and don't even know it. This woman said, and you could tell that she was just like, I'm just gonna say this, and I'm not gonna show anything. I'm gonna hide behind the fact that, we're having a debate, so I definitely don't have to be held accountable for anything now. I'm gonna say, let me tell you something. So you want us to take you serious? I mean, I don't, because I know it's all full of shit. But for those that don't, why wouldn't you give them something? Give them something to say, oh shit, she really knows what she's talking about. Oh, she about to bring some info. No, nothing. That woman, when asked, where are the oldest bodies, oldest people from on the planet, she said the Americas. And when they asked for a location and anything, she said right here, the Americas, and just shook her head defiantly. Like, what I have to say is enough. This woman said she elected herself her own chief, and that's enough. And then she said she was putting a suit in on Indians who are, no, on people who are trying to get people from the North who are trying to get reparations. Said she's putting a lawsuit on people from the North who are trying to get reparations because that's her story. I guess I don't know what the fuck's going on. Slavery didn't happen, but when reparations come, she gonna sue people who try to get reparations because that's her story. So she's saying her ancestors was enslaved. Check this out. Oh no, Japan's going, man, this is gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be a slaughter. My issue is these motherfuckers is too stupid to know it. Like it's the Walking Dead out here. These motherfuckers, you just chopping them in their head and they just keep walking. They just too stupid to know they dead. They walking dead. Like the flat earthers. These niggas is too stupid to understand how stupid they are. That's stupid. What are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are we really talking about? There's a bunch of wars going on the planet right now. And the biggest war being waged in the black community, at least the conscious black community, is this fucking Aboriginal shit. And Sonetta is playing with these motherfuckers. Boy, he is definitely about getting that money. Get your money, son. That's why I stopped feeling some type of way about Sonetta a long time ago, man. Probably 10, 15 years ago. Like, yo, this nigga is running his fucking business. And if you real, and if you out there on the streets, like when you used to be out there on the street, you could run up on Sonetta and have real conversations with him. You see, he not, you know, So, you know, like I said, man, I always, you know, I get inside what you're doing. Goddamn, the people got to be a little bit more intelligent, yo. Y'all got to know when y'all watching WWF, yo. God damn, y'all really think that shit is boxing? And yeah, motherfuckers done died in them WWF rings. Yeah, I get it. That shit all staged. Like, come on, man. Rock couldn't make the NFL. He's the biggest star because he could do that scripted wrestling shit. But when it came down to really, he couldn't make the NFL. And that was his chosen thing. Everything else is because he couldn't make the NFL. Because that shit real. You got to really be that. This shit here, oh, you can put a costume on and fool motherfuckers. And these motherfuckers ain't even putting costumes on. They just telling you lies and shit. Telling you what you've known all your life. The people you've thought all your life was the Indians. These motherfuckers in the past 6 years and told you that shit is all a lie. Ain't a scholar on the planet other than some pseudo scholars who write archaeology books but have no schooling in archaeology. You know what I'm saying? Graham Hancock motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That's they scholars. This shit is insane. But as I said, I feel like it's dying off. They about to get fed to the wolves. All they care about is Sonetta, online ratings. None of them are shown improving by actually reconnecting. So, you know, this is reality TV, you know, but we know reality TV is scripted. So y'all watching Jersey Shore. Y'all watching Atlanta Housewives. None of that shit is going to change anything in real life. And that's the real issue. Because the people that are out here doing things that really could possibly help people. You know what I mean? Maybe this is a good distraction so motherfuckers can move under the radar. But that's the thing. Motherfuckers ain't moving under the radar. You know what I'm saying? And actually, things would be better if, you know, people could just actually be themselves. Yeah. Instead of having to debate over such foolishness. Let me see what's going on here. So I'm patient, yo. I'm turtle, bro. I'm gonna just be patient and let this shit play itself out. Because at some point, something's gonna happen to where somebody gonna have to be that one that this shit just like somebody gonna end up going to jail over some fucking bullshit. That's how it usually happens. Somebody gonna have to be the sacrifice, the sacrificial lamb in this whole Aboriginal shit. And had their life fucked up completely for people to be like, oh yeah, that's some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like with the Dr. York thing. You know what I'm saying? Like shit come to a head eventually. I ain't gonna get into anything else. I'm just saying it always come to a head. You know what I mean? Like, and I ain't comparing none of these movements to that. But these things happen because you be dealing with narcissistic people. These people are all narcissists. All of them. What's his name? Yeah, these people are all narcissists, and they need you to confirm, like they need you to co-sign what they believe to be true. And that's what this shit comes down to. Because they don't know it to be true themselves. Okay, here we go. Look.
All right. So I'm going to answer you, and if you cut me off, I'm just
So now,
myself, okay?
okay,
All right.
Top
My
Cat
answer to
going
that is
coach
number
her
one.
throat.
Once you come out of indoctrination and learn that this is your soil, that's number one. Number two, when you get ready to reestablish, it's not based on what other people said how you should reestablish. If you chief, you do the chiefly thing, and you
So you made the
establish
substitute.
Yeah.
You gonna cut me off?
You just made the substitute.
Are you gonna cut me off, or you gonna let me finish?
I was cut off a long time ago. Remember, so I said I was just gonna
Okay.
let her
Do you
finish.
want to let me finish answering the question?
So what I'm saying.
Hey, Akiri, I don't know why you think that. Akiri talking about I can tell by the title it's gonna be a long build. You getting on the panel today? It's Friday. Cheesecake Factory, you understand me? I had a snow cone today, the sun not. Big old beautiful puffy white clouds, smoking on good loud. And I turned around and they was out there fighting.
I don't want this thing.
Now I turned around, they out there. You know, don't. Then they back doing and they say, they say, how many more fades I got to run? They say,
Man, shit. This thing. So, yeah. So let me talk a little bit about this whole. I gotta keep talking about this tribal situation. What's really going on? And why these people don't know what the fuck they talking about? So, what makes you? We're gonna go over this again. What makes you a member of a tribe or a nation? What is it? Is it your genetics? Is it that alone? Like what makes somebody a national, right, and a citizen? And what's the difference? What's a national? What's a citizen? A national is somebody who's born into the nation, right? A citizen is somebody who has rights of the nation, right? So you can get your citizenship, right? So you can be a national. Let's take China, right? You could be a Chinese national born in America. So you have American, so you're a citizen of America, but you're Chinese national. What's that mean? It means your blood, your lineage goes back to China. That's what you are nationally, like naturally. Your parents were Chinese. They just moved to America, had you in America. So you're a Chinese national, right, by blood, but your citizenship is the United States, right? She, because of her blood, that child born in America has the right to go to China and enjoy the rights of all Chinese people because she's naturally a Chinese person, even though she's a citizen. But when she goes back, she has to also get her citizenship, right? So she'd have to go through the indoctrination, actual indoctrination, learning about the country, learning all the things so she could function properly, right? You can be a citizen of a nation, just like she was born in the United States, but she's a national of China. You can be born in the United States. Well, see, the United States is different because they erased the nationality. So now we're going to keep the same thing with China. You can be a Russian man and you get a job in China. You and your Russian wife move to China, right? You apply for citizenship. Your child is born there. Your child automatically gets citizenship because your child's born there. But your child's not a Chinese national. Neither are you. So whatever privileges Chinese nationals have, you can't partake in it, but you can partake in whatever privileges the citizens have. All right. So that's the same thing that's going on with the so-called some of the freedmen are people who were born into nations but aren't the blood of that nation. But because they're born in the nation through slavery, through marriage, whatever, right? Because they're born into that nation, they enjoy the citizen rights of that nation, but they don't have the national. What does that mean? Or the traditional rights, meaning this: in indigenous culture, you are what your mother is, right? So you are only entitled to certain rights through your mother's people, right? So you're going to have some people in the nation that are entitled. More is a general term for North Africans and Middle Eastern people. It's just a general term. People from Morocco call themselves Moroccans. More is a general term. It's just a term that was used for people of color at a certain period in time. Different languages, different terms, but it all just was identifying a certain group of people. It got expanded when those people started to travel outside of their regions. But like people from Marrakesh, they would be considered Moors. People from Tunisia, Tripoli, the North African countries, Mauritania. That's it. But it's not an actual. It's just a term. It's not an actual people. Like I said, Morocco. People from Morocco say I'm a Moroccan. They don't say I'm a Moor. They say I'm Moroccan. People from Mauritania say I'm a Mauritanian. People from Tripoli say I'm Tripolian. People from Tunis, I guess, say I'm a Tunic. Whatever they say. That's just a general term. So when you talk about being in a nation, right, or a tribe, that's different than clanship, because you can actually be in a tribe and not have clanship. Who's texting me? Yeah. So you have people finding out that they have native ancestry, right? And those who actually followed through and went through with the process probably approached their nations, and they approached whatever nation they're from a corporate perspective, meaning they wanted to apply to join the nation. Now remember, if you have the blood of that nation, just like this Chinese girl that was born in America, she didn't have to apply to be a Chinese national. She just had to show it's my blood. And China said, oh, you're a national. But what you have to do is go through the process of becoming a citizen. So you can merge your nation side, your tradition side, with your political side, right? Two sides. So when people find out they've got Indian in them, they run straight to the political side, which has to deal with the economics and the corporation. They don't go to the traditional side and say, hey, I think I'm one of y'all. Can we figure this out? Can you help me figure this out? No, they run directly to the corporation the politics of it and say, I'm one of you, I want in. Not understanding any of the traditional ways. Not understanding that these are two separate functioning entities that make up the whole, right? The second one is only here because of, when I say the second one, I'm talking about the corporation. It only exists in the form that exists is because of colonization. And because the United States is a corporation that's on paper, so for the United States to interact with these tribal nations and regulate them, you have to create something on paper now so those two groups, which are corporations, can now interact with each other. And this corporation speaks for these people who are the traditional people, right? So everybody, when you start learning who you are, you have to go to the traditional side. That's where you start. You don't start with the corporate. You're going to get turned down every time when you start with the corporate because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because you don't know enough. So you go to the traditional side and you build with them and you establish relationships with them. And then once you get all that in place, you can start looking at, are you deserving of anything on this side? But also by then, you would have started to contribute to that community, become a part of that community. At some point in time, they might say, we want to extend that to you. See what I'm saying? But people don't understand that there's a traditional side and there's a corporate political side. And all the fuckery that go on, all the craziness that go on the political corporate side. And that's all y'all see, because that's all y'all care about. If you cared about the traditional side, you'd be pulling up to the powwows, you'd be meeting the people. Nah, y'all not doing that. Y'all want to run straight to where you think the money is. Not even aware of all the nonsense that goes on, all the corruption that goes on amongst the corporations, just like your community, all the communities we live in. You know what I'm saying? So people talking about, I want my land back. No, what they're saying is, I want in on the corporation that's been exposing, that's been taking advantage of the people. I want in on it. That's why they so mad. They call them $5 Indians. $5 Indians, for the most part, run the corporations. And guess what? They be boxing the traditional people out. But y'all don't know that, because y'all don't know shit. And I'm not going to fucking keep giving it to them, because I gave it to them since whatever. Since what? 2006. And look what they did with it. So I do my little lives and I make them private. You don't catch it, you don't catch it. I don't care. When all they shit fall and all these people is in shambles, they're going to be looking for something. You done talk so much shit you can't run back to Africa. You done talk so much shit you ain't going to be able to go fuck with the tribes. Who you going to fuck with? Only people you can fuck with is real information. Dig yourself out the hole you dug yourself in with real information. Which means you have to humble yourself. African Americans are a product of Native communities, African communities, and European communities. Like it, love it, hate yourself. I don't care. You can hate yourself. You can hate the European in you. You can run around here like Umar Johnson talking about the Cherokee owned slaves. How can y'all claim to be Cherokee? So you saying that your grandmother owned a slave? Shut your dumb ass up, Umar. Why you say that shit to people? Because you're a dumbass. Because you don't know shit. See, this is what, because they don't know enough information. I put the video up about the Creeks, what divided the Creek Nation. What divided the Creek Nation? How they dealt with slavery. The upper towns wanted to free slaves and give them opportunity for freedom, right? It was good people. The lower towns wanted to side with the Union in the United States. Pardon me, wanted to side with the United States. So what happened? The lower towns went to war with the upper towns. What was going on in the upper towns? The Indians were mixing in with Africans, creating communities with Africans. So now you got actual different villages that constitute one group of people fighting against each other because of the politics of the United States and slavery. But Umar Johnson's going to tell you, going to try to shame you out of denying your Cherokee ancestry, when more than likely, check this out, don't this make sense? The Cherokee that took on slaves were the Cherokee who were acquiescing with the United States government, and that was a part of their policy. So they adopted their policies. But unless you know real history and you don't understand that tribes were fracturing and breaking, different people were breaking up. Why? Because certain clans and families were already intermarried with people of color, with Africans. So when they started to institute these laws, those families packed their shit and left. Came up to the north, came up into places like Jersey. Cherokee families left up out of Georgia, left up out of Tennessee, out of North Carolina, out of the Carolinas, and a lot of them moved up north because politics was different. And the ones that was cool with what was going on stayed down and became known as the Cherokee Nation. That's why all y'all ain't Cherokee. Cherokee is the corporation created by certain groups of Native people, the different tribes. That's why y'all gotta really look at treaties and understand what treaty covers who and what groups and what bands are named. Y'all just can't say, oh, the treaties. Y'all know nothing about the treaties. And it should be crazy. Y'all be saying it. Don't know nothing about it. So yeah, Umar Johnson, the people you're trying to shame are actually descendants of the Cherokee that were helping Africans. And that's why they got forced out. And all the other tribes that were sympathetic to Africans ended up mixing in with the Africans. And that's why you have so many people like myself who come from families of Native and African ancestry. It's not just one or two people. Everybody in the family is that, going back generations. The difference between us and the average general African American people, we kept our communities intact. So we kept as much of our culture, right? As much of our language, on top of the fact that our specific language is encoded in all the streets and everything in all the towns all around us, right? So that's still there. We still live in our territories. Our families out here on the East, for the most part, we didn't break up and people go all over the place. That happened when people were fleeing the South. The families up North been together, right? So it's a different situation. So some of the communities up here, and this was happening everywhere, it ain't just up here, I'm just gonna speak for the communities up here. A lot of the communities up here in the Northeast were able to maintain their identity, maintain their history. Maybe not their lands as much, right? But they were able to maintain their identity, right? Even though on paper it says one thing, you still know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. So yeah, we have African ancestry. Genetically, we're probably more African than we are Native. But what makes us Native is that we carry on our ancestors' traditions in the lands that they lived in. We the remnants of the nations that was here. But not understanding the actual nuances of what was going on within the nations politically, you won't understand. That's what's really going on. People are claiming things that they don't know the real history of. And they trying to fucking simplify it so they can write themselves into the story, i.e., the original Indians were dark. So if we can establish that, then I can insert myself into the picture. Yeah, the original Indians were dark, but they were not the African Americans. Are you ancestors? Do you come from them people? Yeah, you have those ancestors as well. Hopefully you can be responsible enough to be patient and find out exactly who you are so you can speak exactly to that. And then when people challenge you, you can show them proof for it. And when you can show them proof for it, the same people that challenge you will embrace you. Y'all don't know that because y'all ain't broke through because you're full of shit. And if you're not full of shit, you haven't taken the time to actually get all the jewels you need. And then you're going to let some clowns try to move the goalposts. And you think the world going to let you claim who you are based on your skin complexion? When did they ever do that? When did the world ever give you what you wanted because of your skin complexion? I'll wait. Matter of fact, hold on. When did the world ever give you what you wanted because of your skin complexion? Yeah, the world is not going to acquiesce because you claim to be something. The world is not going to acquiesce if you show and prove you something. The world ain't going to acquiesce if you right. So what makes you think it's going to acquiesce because y'all yelling and screaming? Because you got the mentality of children. A child will throw a temper tantrum until the parent gives them what they want. And that's what y'all doing. United States ain't going to give you what you want. Nobody going to give you what you want. So what's really happening here? What's really happening? What you got is bootleg Dr. Yorks, bootleg Elijah Muhammad's, got all these bootleg cult leaders who just, see, this is the thing. Back in the day, like Jim Jones really had to go, like he really needed bread to influence people. He really needed a church. He really needed all these things so people would be like, yo, this man's the truth. I'm going to give my life to him. Motherfucker really needed all that. Planes and shit. Motherfuckers now just need a YouTube page and a big mouth and confidence. And motherfuckers will follow them like they follow people like Jim Jones. How many people you think Jim Jones had down in Jonestown? Motherfuckers talk about Jamestown. Fuck Jamestown. Let's talk about Jonestown. Let's talk about these cult leaders. Let's talk about people who elect themselves chiefs. One thing about dude is at least he not active. Imagine if he was actively out going places trying to organize people. Right? But eventually, see, that's the only thing. I think people have learned that over time. If you're not the truth and you go out on a parade and you start running around the country, that should catch up to you. You know what I mean? That's why people like Dr. Ben, right? All the scholars that predate this generation, they were able to have long careers. Booker T. Coleman, educators, long careers, because they were educators who came to the social media platform at some point because their work was being displayed on social media. But they were educators long before they came to social media. What you have now is so-called teachers right? Self-proclaimed chiefs, claim to be the GOAT, the greatest, talk about information like it's never been talked about before, and it was literally scholars on top of scholars that talked about these things. But so you have a bubble, right, around you, that circumference around you that possesses all the information that you have. All the information you have is contained in this bubble, right? And to you, that's all the information, right? But that bubble should be constantly expanding because you're learning more things. And then once you realize, damn, this bubble is constantly expanding, you should realize, I don't know everything. You understand? If that bubble is expanding long enough, you're going to realize some of the things I thought before I know aren't true. You're going to learn. You're going to keep expanding, right? What I see in a lot of these people is they're not aware, like they think they know everything, so that they're not accounting for the fact that you're always growing. This makes sense to you, right? So if you understand you're always growing and there's always the potential for you to be wrong, even when you're right, you show a level of humility. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? If you know there's always the possibility that you could be wrong, even when you're right, you show humility. I don't know. It's how my brain thinks. But in terms of people's approach to becoming or being indigenous or claiming to be indigenous, it's just online shit. I'm looking for the people. We've been trying to help the people that is really serious. You know what I mean? And if it's 7, 8, 9, 10 people, that's all it gotta be. What up? That's my man. One Rule in the building. Love you, boy. It's my man. That's my son. Everybody say peace to One Rule. Just got married. Say congratulations to my son. Congratulations, boy. You're a good man. You got a good wife. So proud of y'all. Indeed. So, yeah, I'm consistent with this. You know what I'm saying? My son's name is Now Rule. My son's 27 years old. I named him Now Rule because that's who I've been all my life. Y'all call me Turtle. The motherfuckers know me as Now Rule. Ruler. Stand on my square. Now's the time, now's the culture, and bring forth the power to show and prove original man, the equality of original man, which is God. You feel me? Man. So he my demonstration. He's showing proof for my righteousness. You know what I mean? That's my math. That's my living mathematics. You want to see me? Look at my fruit. Look at the fruit I bear. Feel me? Indeed. One Rule. He's an artist. Dope. He's an anime artist. Dope. You know what I mean? Made me put the pen down. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Family full of artists, everybody. But he got that anime shit popping. That's what he does. So check him out on Instagram. One Rule and One Rule Arts. But yeah, so in terms of this tribal stuff, your approach, man, it's time of arrogance. Yo, y'all got, not y'all, but just people in general gotta kill it. They gotta kill it. All this arrogance, not gonna happen. Sister Bethy, you are not a chief. You are not a chief. If anything, you're doing yourself a disfavor for a point in time where you start to realize some things. You're gonna be very embarrassed about how you carried yourself, all y'all. I'm embarrassed about some of the things that I did. And I feel like I walked a tightrope. Why did I walk a tightrope? Because we had a camera with us the whole time. And it's still shit. I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I wish I wouldn't have did that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what is this shit about? Is this shit about starting up a cult, an online community that you can make money off of? Or is this a personal journey for each and every one of y'all to bring you and your family back into a structure that has been a part of our ancestors' cultures before it was interrupted, right? Are you trying to get up where you fell? You feel me? Or are you just trying to get a little more comfortable where you fell? You feel me? Like, for me, for my family, me and my cousin, our journey was about putting our family back, you know, in its proper position, its proper light, from the African American perspective and the contributions my family made purely as African Americans, right? I'm talking about being viewed as, oh, you know what I mean? My Indian ancestors and my European ancestors. You know what I'm saying? I know what contributions my people made to America. Like, we're not even gonna play with it, right? So our goal was to get our Rock family name the recognition it's supposed to have in our communities. You know what I mean? Our goal was to tie back into our tribe, you know what I mean, and become active again. You know what I mean? And all this is designed to galvanize and bring the family together so we can heal from the wounds of colonization. You know what I'm saying? That's what this shit is about. That's what this journey is about. It ain't about nothing else. And it ain't about selling t-shirts. It ain't about me hooking up with somebody someplace else and us forming something. Like, anybody can do that. That's a business. We can do that just on some business shit, right? But my journey, my family's journey, was about reconnecting and putting us back in position. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Anything else that comes from that is a bonus. This journey was never about gaining followers. It was never about positioning Turtle Gang in a place where everybody want to run with us and want to be a part of what we're doing. No, this shit was about inspiring people to have their own, right? To seeing the value. I wanted to show people the value in understanding like what knowledge of self truly is. Yo, I remember I was standing out on the block one day when the brothers was building on knowledge of self. Like, God, what is knowledge of self, God? How you see it? Like, how you see what having knowledge of self is? And I started thinking about it, right? And the guy was like, yo, God, how many bones you got in your body? You know what I mean? Motherfuckers started asking questions about actual self. What you allergic to, God? Bong, bong, bong. All these things, right? That's like, damn. Actual facts is dope. Solar facts is dope. But what's more important than knowing the actual fact of yourself? Then I said, oh shit. I know the history of the world, but I don't know the history of myself. I can talk about Kemetic dynasties. I can talk about Sumerian texts. I can talk about the Anunnaki. Talk about Star Wars. I can talk about all these things. Hold up. Can I talk in as much depth about my own family? And this was like, I don't know, this is like 92, 93. That's when I started putting down all my lessons, I ain't gonna say put them down, but that's when I set them to the side. I said, you know what? Let me use what I learned to look into my own history. So we started tearing through our stuff and started to get a better understanding of what this shit really is. Because we always knew, yeah, we Indians. We just didn't fully understand the role we played, the contributions we made, all that shit. So when we started looking at this information critically, whole new peace, Matt. Whole new perception opened up. But not until we started looking at our own shit. I'm gonna tell you, why did I go to Mexico? Why did I go to Mexico? Because as I was looking through, as I was studying at that time, I found that there was a connection between what was going on down there and what was going on up north, right? But what I learned later on, it was just a cultural connection. But at the time, I'm thinking, hold up. But I can tell you what it's all about now. But let's just say in Nahuatl language, one of the names of Teotihuacan translates to the sand hill. Okay? So when I learned that, I said, oh, I need to go on down there and see what the fuck really going on. So I'm hearing it, because that's when the Olmec talk started to surface. People started to learn about the Olmecs. And I'm hearing all this conversation and I'm reading. And I'm like, hold up. The sand hill? So I said, you know what? Let me take a month to study. And then we going down there. And that's what I did. So me running to Mexico to find out, I did it partly because I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get some dope footage. You know what I mean? I knew it would be dope footage, but for the most part, I felt like I had to get ahead of what was going on because I seen all this shit coming. As soon as these people started seeing them Olmec heads, they started to lose their mind. First it was Biggie. You know what I mean? That's Biggie Smalls. But they don't want to talk about the African statue that looked like KRS-One. They don't talk about that. I could put that bust up and look just like KRS. He's used it before. But yeah, this shit got out of hand, spinning out of control. But I think they're all about to crash out. I'm gonna sit here and be patient. I stepped away for years, came back, and this shit was bizarro land. But you know, Turtle got time. We age well. We good. Let me see if there's anything going on. I got a family meeting later. And your family, we're going to be going at 8 o'clock. I'm going to have a family stream at 8 o'clock so we can discuss the family gathering. Just for the family, though. So any of y'all that are watching now, 8 o'clock, please check back with us. It'll be a private on live just for the family. So, and yeah, when we have our family gatherings, we have them at a place called Thompson Park, which is next to Brookdale University. The reason we have it at Thompson Park is because Thompson Park was once a slave plantation. And one of our grandmothers was enslaved on that plantation, one of our Lenape grandmothers. So that's why we have our gathering in that location. Why? Because we know our history. And it's imperative that people learn their history and don't Stop letting them sidetrack you into learning why you can't find something. No, find the shit. Find the shit. You can find whatever you want. You just got to keep looking. I think the problem is people find shit and they don't want to bear witness to what they find. I used to talk that shit too. We wasn't slaves. My family wasn't slaves. Man, I used to think that shit because I heard somebody in my family say it. Oh yeah, we was never slaves. Yeah, I heard that from one of my aunts. Guess what? She ain't know what the fuck she was talking about. Not in regards to that. Nope. And sometimes the people you think are so wise and they be full of shit. They be in their emotions. It should sound good, but it ain't. What's dude? Dude was a Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory said they hit Michael Jackson with a laser beam through the window and stopped his heart. And Dick Gregory knew Michael. He said Mike talked to him about they trying to kill him. He told Mike, you got to stage your death. You know what I mean? Dick Gregory, he got an interview talking about Mike. Like, he's the father of black conspiracies. And we believe him. I don't know too many motherfuckers who say Dick Gregory is full of shit or was full of shit. And there's some people that say he was a CIA plant. You know what I mean? With that whole diet shit, all that shit. I don't know. But anyway, Dick Gregory said that it's a video. He said they killed Michael Jackson and they killed Prince. All right. People seem to think they killed Prince because of what he had done 10 years earlier. Like, if you're gonna kill Prince for destroying the label industry, in the industry in which labels had a monopoly on it, you would do it before Prince actually showed everybody how to do it. Once he showed everybody how to do it, game over. Ain't no sense in killing Prince. And we were already 15, 20 years into being independent artists. Now, probably about, when they killed Prince, probably about 15 years into artists having, like, not all artists, but certain artists were being independent. You know, I'm talking about Master P's and people like that. You know what I'm saying? Prince was the first one to do all that shit. What Master P perfected, Prince is the one that laid the blueprint. Directly owning, controlling everything. Only type of deal you might sign is a distribution deal. And then Prince created the direct to consumer. So the whole thing where you can sell your shit directly to your fans online, Prince was the first one to do that shit. All right. I think the album that he did it with was an album called Emancipation. It was a triple CD that he released on NPG, which was his own website where you can go directly to him to get his music. He cut the labels out. He cut everybody out, right? So as he explains it, he sold his album. Let's say he said if I sell the album for $20 an album. He said if I sell 500,000 copies at $20, right? What's the math? 500,000. Here's my thing. So 500,000 times $20 is 10 million. So if you sell 500,000 that's kind of like a flop. You know what I'm saying? But so now if you sell 500,000 records, right? Let's do this. And you got a deal and you're getting 20 cents a record. So, like, it's like what, $100,000? I don't know, whatever the math is. Either way, is the comparison to it to selling 500,000 records at $20 compared to selling 500,000 records or 1,000,000 records and you're only getting 7 to 20 cents. Prince changed all that. And that's what everybody today who sells music directly to their fan base, they benefit from what Prince did, right? So if they were going to kill Prince, they were going to kill him before that happened. You're not going to kill him years after. So Dick Gregory said they killed Prince. And he had the whole elaborate shit about how they killed him, just as elaborate as what they did with Michael. Wow, damn. Yep, still controls his music through a private trust. Yep, he changed the game. So, Dick Gregory's going on and on about how this and that. Now, small world, through my channels, I actually know somebody who not only knew Prince, but was one of his girlfriends for years. And that certain somebody was, put it this way, through that individual, I got to meet Prince, got to hang out with him. This person was somebody that was in Prince's life since the 80s up until he died. Long-time friend of his. And she told us the real story of what happened to Prince. It had nothing to do with nobody, the CIA, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Had everything to do with his friends taking advantage of him, not being there for him when he most needed them. Meaning that man was on drugs, and his friends should have been trying to help him, and all they was doing was catering to him getting more. And that's why he not with us. People benefited from him being high and not in his right mind. He was generous with his money when he was high, when he was not in his right mind. Said he was generous with his money regardless. If he was a friend and you asked, he gave it to you. So his death could have been prevented. Now, hearing that and then got me thinking about Dick Gregory, I'm like, and this man sat up here and said all this shit, and everybody believes him. Nobody doubts what Dick Gregory says. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just thinking, like, how much of this is really going on all over? Eventually, like, you know, this Prince shit gonna hit the surface. It's been years. They've been fighting up to keep that shit suppressed, but it's gonna come to the surface. You can tune into certain blog talks where they talk to like his hairdresser and different people, and they talk about it. How they got him dressed and put him on the elevator. She found him. He was in his bed. They cleaned him up and put him on the elevator. So I just say all that to say that it be people who got, like, people really fuck with them and believe the shit they say. And they really just be pseudo as fuck. And sometimes you love these people. They just be pseudo as fuck. And I know running through the conscious community and seeing some things up close, some of my favorite people in the conscious community are pseudo as fuck. Cool people, but when it comes to the shit they teaching, shit they doing, ain't nothing for nobody. Ain't nothing that's gonna help anybody but them. That's it. That's all I see is people teaching other people how to get rich off of teaching other people how to get rich. Everybody's running around teaching somebody how to get money. You know, it's pyramid shit, pyramid scam. That's what I see going on all around. And nobody's getting back to their tribes. Where are all the successful stories of these people getting back to their tribes? Yeah, they're not here to get you back to your tribe. They're here to become better colonists. They're here, as I always say, these motherfuckers don't want off the slave ship. They just want better quarters on the motherfucking slave ship. Get me out the bottom of this motherfucking boat. I want one of them fucking big ass rooms up top overlooking the fucking pool. They don't want to sink the ship. They want better seats. Niggas want to sell drugs on the master spaceship. Oh, we going to space, boss? Well, can I sell the drugs on the spaceship, boss? That's what niggas want. That's it. They don't want nothing of their own. They want a better seat on a sinking ship. And they see a nigga like me tearing a door off the side of this room, and they laughing at me because I'm diving head first over the side of this goddamn boat, holding on to this door. I'm getting the fuck out of here. The niggas is looking at me out in the ocean, floating. They laughing at me, talking shit about me in a big ass room with 1,000 people looking up to them while they motherfucking ship is sinking. And what do I see in the distance? Oh, whole flock of giant sea turtles. Oh, I'm good. That's right. I'm off that ship on that door, bong, looking for the fucking flock of sea turtles. Take me home. So yeah, it is what it is. Where are the success stories? Why are your leaders telling you you don't have to connect with your tribe? Why they all talking? It's like a motherfucker's running a race and then gets to the finish line and goes, fuck him across the line for. Nigga, you've been leading in the race the whole time. Let you tell it. You in first place. And all of a sudden you get to the finish line and you decide, pull up short. You ain't even pulled a hamstring or nothing. You just, I don't need to. Why? Because if you cross that finish line and you're now the winner, does that make you the spokesman? Do you have now even more responsibilities? Oh, okay. So you want to talk all that shit, but you don't want to place that firmly on your back. Oh, I see. I get it. Because it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. A lot of responsibility, even if it's just to your family. Shit, organizing a family gathering is a lot of responsibility. And it's just a family gathering is going to happen one day. Get your shit right 2-3 days. You might be able to have a little retreat. You know what I'm saying? A lot of responsibility come into that. These motherfuckers not even doing that. They not even doing that. And that's not to say it's not happening. They're not doing it. They're not organizing it. And guess what? If you got a family reunion and your family already got a council that comes together to put their family reunion together, you already ahead of the curve. You already got some type of organization. These people not even telling you to do that. How about this? All these cults out here, how about y'all start instituting rules? Start telling people, nah, you can't come be around us unless you got at least 10 of your family members. Hold people accountable. Get your family together. You've been rocking with us for how many years, and you ain't showing us no pictures of these family gatherings you organizing? How many years you been online talking this Indian shit? And you ain't pulled up and you ain't showing proof and nothing? You just keep talking and opening more books? And what's up with Caramel? What's up with this dude from South America? Having so much influence on motherfuckers up here. And everybody's like, that's cool. That's no different than people who painted those paintings that everybody's running around here swearing by. And those is people that never even came to the Americas. They just read books that pseudo people who came to the Americas wrote. So every day, Caramel is introducing some outdated information. Outdated. I found this old book. It's outdated. You're reading books that people wrote when they first encountered people they didn't know, and they're taking on the position that nothing else about these people was learned ever again. Look, when they got off the boat, they called them Moors. Okay, what does it say in the 7th chapter? Let's go to the 7th chapter. Oh, in the 7th chapter, it says who they exactly are because now they have a relationship with these people. Nah, oh, look, when they first got off the boat, this is what they said they saw. Said they saw copper tone people. And then eventually, what did they say those copper tone people told them they were? Said they was Lenni Lenape, right? Oh, yeah, Verrazano saw the copper tone people. Okay, who were those people? Oh, they were Lenni Lenape. Okay, so now let's go talk to the Lenni Lenape. Why we gotta go talk to everybody but? What's going on here? What's going on here? So if I want to learn about Michael Jackson and the Jacksons, like if I'm really somebody official and I want to make a movie or a documentary or write something about the Jacksons, and I'm really somebody official, I'm going to reach out to one of the Jacksons. If I want to be taken seriously. All right. So what's going on with this Indian narrative? Why is Sister Bethy saying that we ain't the same as the people up north, but then saying that they labeled some of us Negroes and our cousins Indians, but we all the same people? Hold on. You are confusing me. Like, what is it, Sister Bethy? Did we speak English, or is this a linguistic map of all the languages that predate the Americans coming here? And if that's the case, why don't the Americans speak these languages? Kwinganao Alonwa, Nin Dushinzi Takwa. You know, GIE, Nanapioke. What did I say, Sister Bethy, since I just spoke English to you? Do I believe there were no blacks? I believe that the Native American nations varied from dark to light. So if you are labeling people by description, there were dark people here. If you want to call them black, fine. Were they African Americans that we are now? No. So that's the game that they play. And I'm going to break this down for you. It's not their fault. It's great. So you believe there were no blacks. I don't believe anybody in North America called themselves black. I don't think anybody in North America called themselves black. I think they all had exact names, exact nations, and exact languages, and they refer to themselves as that. So who are you talking about? Because there are many nations in North America that were brown skinned. There's nations that were lighter skinned. Because they were dark skinned doesn't mean they were African. And because they were dark skinned doesn't mean they were the African Americans that we know of today. But I'm going to tell you what that issue is. When people were stripped of their identity and they were labeled by description only, right? So if you take away ways to identify yourself, you take away your traditions, your culture, and the only thing you leave with somebody is a description. That's it. We don't talk about Black people's language. We don't talk about their culture. We just talk about what they look like. We don't call them by their names. We just call them by a description of the complexion of the skin, Black. So now all Black people in America know to identify themselves with is a color. That's why they say, oh, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Because Black people in America are just learning that, guess what? It's people of dark hue all over the country. And I don't know why they're just learning this, because it's not something that just occurred. It's been like this forever. But for some reason in their mind, they think it's just being like people are just realizing this. So because they've been reduced to just a description, right? The only way they can relate to people on the planet is via description. So in attempts to claim back their dignity and their heritage and everything about themselves, because the only thing they know about themselves is what they appear to be like, Black, anything that appears to be Black, they're going to claim is theirs. So when they see something on a wall in whatever area they're at, they're going to say, oh, them people are the same color as us. Those are us. And they're going to claim it because they don't have no other criteria to claim shit. They can't look at the regalia and go, oh, no, that ain't us. We didn't wear that. See what I'm saying? None of these people who look at any of this stuff on them walls. No, one person said something to me about one of the Mayan glyphs. One person made a mention to me about something that was traditional in nature, and it made me go, okay, he know a little something. No one else has ever who has ever talked about the different motifs on the Olmec helmets and how that relates to the regions and where these people were from? Who talks about that? They just say, oh no, them Olmecs is Black. Because they're going by description of what some stone heads look like, not even what the real people look like. They're comparing themselves to pieces of fucking stone. Look at them, they look like Africa, they look like us. Like, and it's funny how first the Olmecs were Africans. Now this new group of Aboriginals come in. It's funny because, let me take you back. The argument first started about 2007, and Ali Muhammad was the one to start making the claims. Ali Muhammad is the one that told everybody they the real Mexicans and all that shit. All right? So the argument was the Olmecs were African, not Mesoamerican. I went down there. When I got down there, within a week of being in Tabasco, in La Venta, San Lorenzo, right? I knew these people are their own people. There's not like, these people didn't go nowhere. How could Black people in America be the Olmecs when these people are still here? They're still running around. Just like Black people would be like, oh, we're still, just like, you know, Indians be like, we still here. Them motherfuckers still here. Black people in China still there. Black people everywhere that have been there forever still there. So why would you think the people who descend from the Olmecs ain't there? They still there. They just got amalgamated and absorbed into different cultures that came into the area, just like everybody else who's an ancient people. No ancient people, like there's very few ancient people that are still in their ancient. That's why when you look at the Aborigines in Australia, they look a little weird. The real Aborigines, they don't look like modern people because they haven't intermixed and intermingled with all the different nations. So they still have their heavy phenotypical look, and they all look a distinct way, just like Native Americans. For the most part, a lot of them still look a distinct way. Like, they don't look as mainstream as everybody else. Like African Americans have a very blended appearance. You can see things, you know what I mean? You can see these different people in us. Just it is what it is. Yeah, bro, we're on the same page, man. I'm not with all that. And once these people really do their genealogy, that's the thing. That's why they don't want to connect. Because if they connect, they're gonna have to correct. To connect, you got to come correct. You can't just connect and think you're gonna talk people out of their culture. That's what people do. They come on here. Next thing you know, they're trying to talk me out of what I know to be true. Like, it's crazy. All right. That's the thing. Everybody is faking it, so they assume you faking it too. Like, dude kept saying to me one day, listen, we all just trying to figure this out. No, we all are not just trying to figure this out. Some of us know exactly who we are, and we never forgot. Now we sharing it with y'all, and y'all think we coming out of the dark. No, we not. We not figuring this shit out. Like my genealogy, the same genealogy we have now was given by my 6th-time great-grandfather to the first black town physician of Red Bank, because that town physician was going to be the one serving our community. Because back then, people of color, Indians, niggas, whatever, could not go to the hospital unless you had your own doctor. So you could use the facilities, but the white doctors was not going to serve you. So you had to have your own doctor, and if something was happening and it was that serious, he had to meet you at the hospital, or they'll let you die. I talked about this before. Go find out who are the first quote unquote African American doctors in certain territories. Then go look up and see if you can find their patient list. It's more than likely going to come from either a native town or a mixed native and African town. If you know where you're from. If you know exactly where your people was from, homestead-wise, like 1700s. You know where your people was in the 1700s? But yeah, probably just jump up off here though. But appreciate y'all for sitting in. Gonna keep growing this shit. Get it back to what it was. Just being patient. I know what's going on. I can tell by certain vocabulary, certain things being said. I know these weird niggas be slipping on here, watching the video, and take some of it with them. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. But I hear y'all starting to lighten up a little bit. But that's because the Pan-Africans is coming down on you. Raining down on you, motherfuckers, boy. But I'm out, yo. Peace.